We're going to bring you the follow-up for just a few minutes to last night's election, where we saw longtime incumbents fall in some races to Democrats and Republicans taking the victory in races that were thought to be a toss-up. I'm joined again by our election analysts who were with us for a long evening last night. Thank you both so much. Did such a great job. Democrat David Tandy, the former Metro Council president, now a partner with Denton's law firm, and Republican Iris Wilbur-Glick with McCarthy Strategic Solutions in Louisville. So Iris, I want to start with you. Go ahead and break down the statewide election when it comes to Frankfort. The last remaining Democrat in the Central Time Zone lost last night.
Defeated, that's right, Doug. And so record majorities. I'm calling it supercharged super majorities. So in the Senate, state Senate, we got 31-7. We had a pickup opportunity in Hardin County. Seat went uncontested, so went to the Republican. On the House side, 80-20. 5 pickups, 3 of which were in Louisville, 1 in Bowling Green that you just mentioned, and then House Minority Leader Angie Hatton, Eastern Kentucky, was also defeated. So 5 pickups. So 80-20 breakdown in the House now. We'll
talk about the impact on the governor's race in just a second. But first, David, a Democratic sweep, mostly here in Louisville. Something I know you can address well. 2 well-known Democrats lost last night. Mark Fox, Amy Holton Stewart. You've got a Democratic mayor coming in with 2 more Republicans now on the Metro Council. How's that going to go?
Really, so if people were to kind of take a step back and look at the makeup of the council, kind of like when Mayor Fisher took office, the makeup of the council this going in now with Mayor-elect Greenberg, it's going to look fairly similar. In terms of like the margins and the totals. Those 2 districts, District 13, District 25, those are districts that when they were redrawn became swing districts again. And so I wasn't necessarily surprised at the outcomes in some of those races based on where they were located, how Republicans have performed in previous races. That being said, you still have a strong majority of Democrats on the council. I think what we're looking forward to going forward is for the mayor to work well with the council to try and get things done and move the city forward.
And he and Metro Council President David James are very close friends, have been for quite a while. All right, all day long on my phone, I was getting alerts from national news organizations, New York Times, you name it, about Kentucky, the impact of Amendment number 2, a mostly red state, defeating it. Let's both talk about that. Iris, I'll start with you, your reaction to that. And its impact on the election here.
Absolutely. And so, one thing I want to draw just for context is turnout. And so those of us that participated yesterday, you saw a 2-page ballot, right? And so Constitutional Amendment number 2 was all the way on the back page. Just for reference, in the U.S. Senate race, based on the latest tally, we saw 41% voter turnout. So of registered voters, 41% of us participated in the U.S. Senate race. Constitutional Amendment number 2, 39%. So to me, like right there, we saw quite a bit of participation. So folks followed through, flipped the page over, knew what to look for, and let their voice be heard.
Do you think it transferred to local races or just surged the voter turnout, David?
I think it surged the voter turnout in certain places. Certainly you saw big turnout in Jefferson County, Fayette County, some up in northern Kentucky. You saw a larger turnout because of those ballot initiatives. But one of the things I think what we learned from these ballot initiatives, Iris and I were talking about it last night, how a number of these series of ballot initiatives, Marcy's Law when it was on the ballot a few years ago, have gotten defeated. And I think the reason for that is you have to educate the public as to what those various amendments mean or those initiatives mean. And it takes a little time to be able to do that. But if they are educated about it, then they'll turn out and they'll vote on it.
This is what you both do best because of your experience. Let's talk about 2023. Yes, folks, you don't get much of a breather from those political ads because you're going to elect a new governor next year or an incumbent governor. You never know. So Iris, give me the odds for Andy Beshear with the changes we just saw in this election across the state.
So when we turn the calendar in 2023, a couple different things will be at play. I believe that the 2024 presidential race will be hot and heavy. And so not only will Andy Beshear be on the ballot, but I think Biden will be on the ballot, so to speak. Definitely from just like a national sentiment, national trend perspective, all eyes will be on Kentucky and 2 other states that have gubernatorial races. And so lots of national attention, eyes on Kentucky to see if there's any trends to pick up ahead of 2024.
David, do you think Andy Beshear can pull off a win with the climate next year?
I do think so. I think one thing in Kentucky races, as in years past. It's more about who the candidate is. So he's going to make it more localized and make it more about Kentucky Democrats versus the national Democratic brand. But that being said, if you're talking about Biden being on the ballot in 23, Trumpism will be on the ballot in 23 as well, as we're expecting Donald Trump to announce he's going to run for president. And if it's not him, it's Governor Ron DeSantis from Florida, who is a Trump light-like potential candidate. So we will see.
Certainly the state has turned redder than it was just the night before.
That it has.
Okay, going to be an interesting race. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you along the road in 2023.